Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Last week we started the first naya of the first method in the Dhatukatha, and we were explaining the first state of enquiry, which was the Rūpakkhando, the matter aggregate, right? So, and halfway down, we could not finish it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain it from the beginning again, right?
尊敬的各位尊者、各位法师、各位贤友，大家晚上好。今天尊者将继续上一节课的内容，从有关于色蕴的所摄非摄的部分开始，继续为大家进行讲解。
Okay, so to start with, we have to tell it again. This thing, the first state of inquiry. Rūpakkhando katihi khandehi kati hayatanehi katihi dhatuhi sangahito, which means under how many aggregates, under how many bases, under how many elements is matter aggregate classified. So this is the question which explains about the classification of the matter aggregate, right? So then it explains the answer. It's given as Rūpakkhando ekena khandena eka dasa hayatanehi eka dasahi dhatuhi sangahito. So Rūpakkhando, matter aggregate, is classified under one aggregate, under 11 bases, and under 11 elements. So what are these one aggregate, 11 elements, and 11 bases? So the one ekena khandena, which means one aggregate, is the matter aggregate, which is obvious, and then the 11 bases, which means the 10 gross bases and ideation base. So I explained this meaning of 10 gross bases. So in Dhatukatha, the 10 bases, which includes only the matter, is named as gross bases. So for the usage, for the convenience, in terms of using, this word is used, the 10 gross bases. So instead of giving the list one by one, this term is used, 10 gross bases, like this. So, and then the ideation base. So in ideation base, we know it consists of mainly three parts. One is the subtle matter, the 16 subtle rupas, the 16 subtle matters, and then the 52 mental factors and the nibbana. So because of this inclusion of the subtle matter, 16 subtle matter, the rupas, this is given as the ideation base. The ideation base is also considered as a base which the matter aggregate is grouped into, right? And then eka dasa hayatanehi, the next one is eka dasahi dhatuhi sangahito. So eka dasahi dhatuhi means in 11 elements, this matter aggregate is grouped. So it includes 10 gross elements. The classification is similar here with the bases. So 10 gross elements and the ideation element. So that this is how it is explained, right? So yes.
首先，我们来看一下经文的第一句第一段的问答。那么这一段内容，我们在上节课最后的时候也为大家进行过介绍。在这里，它是什么意思呢？首先，色蕴是几蕴？色蕴摄于几蕴、几处、几界呢？回答是：色蕴摄于一蕴、11处和11界。那么这里的一蕴、11处、11界分别指的是什么呢？首先，一蕴指的是色蕴， 11种处，在这里我们可以将其分为2种的类型，即是10种的粗色所构成的粗的处，还有一种呢是法处。10种粗色构成的处呢，即是眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、色、声、香味、触处，亦即是眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、境色，以及色、声、香味、触这些的色法。那么剩下的16种的细色被包含在法处之中 ，addition element。接下来11戒是哪11戒呢？同样的方式，这11戒可以被分为2类。首先是10种的粗戒，即是10种粗色所构成的戒，它们即是眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、色、声、香味、触的戒。再有是法戒，即是16种细色被包含在法戒之中。因此，当问及色蕴摄于何蕴何处何戒时，回答为摄于一蕴11处11戒。
Yes. So this is the first part of the in this state of inquiry, right? So the question and the answer is given for the sangaha, which means for the grouping. The second part, it says the question, it says katihi asangahito. So katihi asangahito means under how many it is not classified. So we see in this question, so it doesn't say anything about how many aggregates, under how many bases, or under how many elements. So what is done here, it is this question is given in a short way. So instead of asking katihi khandehi, katihi hayatanehi, katihi dhatuhi asangahito, it is given as katihi asangahito in a short way, right? So we have to know this is a question. We have to understand the dhammas. The question it asks about the aggregates, the bases, and the elements, but it is given in short. Then the answer it is given as chatuhi khandehi ekena ayatanena sattahi dhatuhi asangahito. Under 11 bases, it is not classified under 4 aggregates, under 1 base, and under 7 elements. So what are these 4 aggregates, 1 base, and 7 elements? Right.
第二段的问答是，那么剩下的对于色蕴而言，它并不包含在，并不摄于哪些呢？它们并不摄于4蕴、1处和7种的戒。
Yes. So it is ungrouped under 4 aggregates, which means the 4 mental aggregates, right? Under 4 mental aggregates, the matter is not grouped. So it's given as it's ungrouped, or we can say unclassified. Yeah? And then ekena ayatana means under 1 base, which means the mind base. So under mind base, this is not classified. And under 7 elements, it is not classified. 7 consciousness elements. Now, what are these consciousness elements? I believe that you did your homework. Right. So under these 18 elements, there are 7 elements which is called as the consciousness elements, right? So it starts from here. Number 12 to 18, we find this. Number 12 is eye consciousness element. 13th is ear consciousness element, nose consciousness element, tongue consciousness element, body consciousness element, mind element, and mind consciousness element. So under these 7 elements, the matter aggregate is not classified. Now in Dhatukatha, this 7 consciousness element in Pali it's called as Satta Vijñāna Dhātu, which means 7 consciousness elements. So this term is used. So instead of explaining it one by one, giving a list as eye consciousness element, ear consciousness element, we use it for the convenience as consciousness elements, right? So it is why it is given here 7 consciousness elements, right? And sometimes only this 5 will be selected: ear consciousness element, eye consciousness element, ear consciousness element, nose consciousness element, tongue consciousness element, and body consciousness element. So this 5 will be selected and will be used as 5 consciousness elements sometimes, right? In Dhatukatha, for ease of reference and for the usage, we use these words, right? So there are 2 terms we need to know here.
接下来，那么在这里，色蕴并不摄于这些的蕴处界，即是不摄于四蕴，不摄于一处，不摄于7种的界。这些蕴处界的内容，非摄的是哪些呢？4种蕴即是四明蕴，色蕴非摄于四明蕴。那四明蕴呢，即是受想行识四明蕴。色蕴色法不摄于一种的处，即是异处。那么在12处和18界之中，将异处展开来之后，它将可以呈现为7种的界。哪7种的界呢？它们分别是眼识界、耳识界、鼻识界、舌识界、身识界、意界以及意识界。这7种的识界，它们在这里是色法非摄于的内容。那尊者在这里也标注，对于双五识而言，这里的5种识呢，也将它们称之为是识界。
Right. Okay. So we are done with the first part, the first question, right? And then we move to the second question, which means the second state of inquiry. So it says Vedanākkhando katehi khandehi katehi hayatanehi katehi dhātuhi sangahito. Vedanākkhando ekena khandena ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya sangahito katehi asangahito chatuhi khandehi eka dasahayatanehi sattarasahi dhātuhi asangahito. So the question, it's about the feeling aggregate. Vedanākkhando katihi khandehi katihi ayatanehi katihi dhātuhi sangahito means under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements is feeling aggregate classified. So the answer it is given as Vedanākkhando ekena khandena ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya sangahito, which means the feeling aggregate is classified under one aggregate, ekena khandena. So what is this? Aggregate? It is grouped under one aggregate, which is the feeling aggregate, right? Vedanākkhanda is grouped, or it is included in the feeling aggregate itself, right? And then it says ekena ayatanena, under one base, right? Under one base. So what is this one base? One base. The one base is the ideation base, right? So in ideation base, we know 52 mental factors are included. So because of that, the mental factor of feeling is included there in the ideation base. So it is included in ideation base. And it says, in the answer it says again, ekaya dhātuya sangahito. Ekaya dhātuya sangahito means under one element, it is grouped, right? It is classified under one group. So it's the same, right? It's in the ideation element, in the Dhamma Dhatu.
接下来我们来看下一段的经文的内容。在这里，经文问到，对于受蕴 Vedanākkhando，它摄于几种的蕴、几种的处、几种的界呢？回答是，受蕴摄于一种蕴、一种处，还有一种界。那么，这里的一种蕴、一种处、一种界是哪些内容呢？一种蕴即是受蕴，一种的处即是法处。法处的内容里面包含有全部的52心所，受蕴作为一种的心所，受心所也被涵盖在法处之中。
Right. And then the question, it comes from the unclassification, right? Katihi asangahito, chatuhi khandehi ekadasahayatanehi sattarasahi dhatuhi asangahito. So katihi asangahito, it means under how many it is not classified. Under how many it is not classified. So the answer is given as it is chatuhi khandehi ekadasahayatanehi sattarasahi dhatuhi asangahito. So it is not classified under 4 aggregates. Chatuhi dhatuhi means it's not classified under 4 aggregates. So we know this Vedanākkhando, the feeling aggregate, it was classified in the under the feeling aggregate. So the rest of the aggregates, and the rest of the aggregate, it is not classified. So that is why the answer is given as it is not classified under 4 aggregates. Right. So the other 4 are matter, perception, volitive formation, and consciousness, right? And it says eka dasahayatane asangahito. Under 11 bases, the feeling aggregate is not included, is not classified. So the 11 bases are we know this was classified in the ideation base. So the rest of the bases are the bases which the Vedanākkhando is not classified. So the 11 bases are given as 10 gross bases and the mind base, right? And in the final part of the answer, it says sattarasahi dhatuhi asangahito. Under 17 bases, the feeling aggregate is not grouped, not classified. So what are these 17? The bases which excluding the ideation base. We know this was included, this was grouped, this was classified under the ideation base. So the other 17 are given as the 17 elements, right? 10 gross elements and the 7 consciousness elements, right? Now we know this word, 7 consciousness elements, right? 10 gross elements plus the 7 consciousness element. So under these 17 elements, the feeling aggregate is not classified.
受蕴摄于一种蕴、一种处、一种界，一种界即是法界。经文接下来继续问道：受蕴非摄于哪些？亦即是受蕴非摄于哪些的蕴、处、界呢？受蕴非摄于4种的蕴，非摄于11处，非摄于17界。这里何谓4种蕴、11处、17界呢？4种非摄的蕴，即是色蕴、想蕴、行蕴、识蕴。11种非摄的处，即是10种的粗处，以及是眼耳鼻舌身、色声香味触处。 以及一种的益处。17种的非摄的戒，即是分为2种主要的类型，分别是10种粗的戒，即是眼耳鼻舌身的戒，还有色声香味触的戒。再有呢是7种的实戒，它们即是眼识戒、耳识戒、鼻识戒、身识戒、意戒、意识戒。
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to explain all these the khandas and everything. So what I'm going to do is like to teach the method on how to learn it. Right. So I think by now we all have understood and have some at least have some kind of an understanding on how to deal with these questions, the questions and answers, and how to work with these graphs and everything. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to show you the special points, special things from these in the first method, right? So I'm not going to explain the next term, the next state of inquiry, which is the Dhatukatha and the Sankharakkhandho. I'm not going to explain. Vedanākkhando is I'm not going to explain, right? So those things, those states of inquiry are for your homework, right?
尊者在这里主要介绍的是大家学习结论的方法。那么在这里，借由我们所学习的方法，能够清楚的认知以及回答解决在经文当中所提出的问题和答案。当我们学习了上述的这内容之后，对于接下来的像行运、想运、时运的问答的内容呢，想必大家也能够举一反三，自己在课后去进行学习。
Okay, so in the last week we went through this small classification from the Dhatukatha for the first chapter, and we mentioned that we are in here, right, doing the khanda, and the khanda, it is two-folded, right? Bheda and abheda. I told that we were explaining. I will be explaining what it means, right? Then I told that we were doing the first part, this one, the Suddha part, right? Suddha means standalone. So what we see here, right, in the first 5 states of inquiry, it was Rūpakkhando, and this one is Vedanākkhando, the third one is Saññākkhando, the fourth one is Sankharakkhandho, and the fifth one was Viññānakkhandho. So we see in the states of inquiry, it was only one state of inquiry. So that is why it is mentioned as Suddha. Suddha means in this context we can say standalone or alone, right? Only one is given. So when we move into the next section, we see there are two dhammas, two sets of dhammas explained, right? So we see Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saññākkhando, which means matter and feeling aggregates. Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saññākkhando, matter and perception aggregates. So we see two sets of dhammas there. So Sayadaw has used the word called for the first one. First one, Sayadaw has used the term by once, which means there will be only one set of dhamma which is included in the states of inquiry. And if you move to the next section, Sayadaw has used the word by twos. Two sets of dhammas are there. Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, like that. So, and moving on to the third one, Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Saññākkhando, matter, feeling, and perception. So we see three sets of dhammas here. And moving further down, now there are 3 here, right? 3 questions here, 15, 16, and 17. And further moving down, we see by force, right? Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Sanyakhandocha, Sankharakhandocha. So it says matter, feeling, perception, and mental formation. So there are four sets of dhammas here. So the shadow then use Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Saññākkhando, Saṅkhārakkhando, Viññānakkhandocha. So there are 5 here, right? All 5 aggregates are there: matter, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. And finally, we have this Pali called Panchakkhandha, which includes all the khandhas, and they are explained together, right? So we see this translated, right? So here Sayadaw has used the term by 5s, and here by 4s, and here by 3s, here by 2s. So it explains like that. But when it comes to the Pali, there is a term coming as Eka Mulakam, right? So we need to understand what does it mean. So Eka Mulakam means, now in this graph also I have used the word called Eka Mulakadi. Eka Mulakadi means Eka Mulaka, etc. So Eka, we know Eka in Pali, it means one. Mula, it has different meanings, but in this context we have to say like one primary, we can say it's like the primary term, right? Mula is the term, primary term. So here we have Eka Mulakam. This is applicable for number 11, 12, 13 and 14. So in this Pali, there is one primary term applicable, right? Rūpakkhando, Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saññākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saṅkhārakkhando, Rūpakkhando, Viññānakkhandocha. So we see the Rūpakkhanda as the primary term, right? The basis term. It is used as the base, and then the other 4 aggregates are added up: Vedanākkhando, then Saññākkhando, after that Saṅkhārakkhando, then the Viññānakkhandā are added. So in this way, the other aggregates are added to the Rūpakkhanda, which is the base, right? The base or the primary term. So now what you see here, when you compare this, now Eka Mulaka is applicable for the dhammas which there are 2 sets. So it means we have one Mula, which is the Rūpakkhanda, and the Vedanākkhanda is the other set of dhamma, which is related to the Rūpakkhanda, right? So the Vedanākkhanda, Saññākkhanda, Saṅkhārakkhanda, and Viññānakkhandā have one primary term. So that is what it is mentioned. It is known as the Eka Mulaka. And further going down, number 15, 16, and 17. Now we see Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha, Saññākhandocha. The second one, it says Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha, Saṅkhārakhandocha. So here there are 2 terms, Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha. So in the base there are 2 terms, Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha. Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha. Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha. So these are added, the Saññākkhanda and the Saṅkhārakkhanda and the Viññānakkhandā. The Viññānakkhandā are added on top of these 2 primary terms. So this is what is mentioned as Dukkha Mulaka. The Saṅkhārakkhanda here and the Viññānakkhandā here, they possess two bases, right? Two primary terms, Rūpakkhanda and Vedanākkhanda. So this is why it is known as the Dukkha Mulaka, right? So for this Dukkha Mulakadi, Eka Mulakadi, etc., we need to add Eka Mulaka, Dukkha Mulaka. Then further going down, we have Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha, Saññākhandocha. There are 3 in the primary base, right? So Saṅkhārakkhando, Viññānakkhandā. So these 2 are added on top of Rūpakkhanda, Vedanākkhanda, and Saññākkhanda. So then we are looking at the Chatukka Mulaka. And finally, the next one, right? Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākhandocha, Saññākhandocha, Saṅkhārakhandocha, then Viññānakkhandocha. The Viññānakkhandā is added on top of these 4. So that's why it is called as the Chatukka Mulaka. So this classification we need to know, right? Now what Sayadaw has done is just added the number of dhammas by ones, by twos, by threes, by fours, by fives, like that, right? So Chatukka Mulakam is not similar to by fours. So we need to know that part as well, right? Right. So what we see in the Pali, the basis was the Rūpakkhando, right? On top of Rūpakkhando, the other aggregates were added, right? Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākkhando in the Ekamulakam, right? And then in the Dukkamulakam, Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākkhando, like that. So the basis was Rūpakkhando plus we have another one, but the first term what we see here is the Rūpakkhando, right? So when you look at the Tikkamulaka and Chatukkamulaka, we see this thing, right? Rūpakkhando as the base term. So when we look at the commentary, it says Rūpakkhando mulake eva chitta dukkha tika chatukka dasita. So it says in the Rūpakkhando mulaka only itself, dukkha tika chatukka dasita, the dukkha, tika and chatukka are shown in the Pali, right? So in the Pali what we see, the dukkha, tika and chatukka, right? We see the dukkha and tika and chatukka based on what? The Rūpakkhando. Now don't mix up the eka mulaka and dukkha like that, right? So what he means as dukkha means there are two Pali, two sets of Dhamma, right? So in eka mulakam, in other words we can say it's as a dukkha, right? Because there are two sets of Dhamma, dukkha, right? So for dukkha mulakam we can say it is tika, right? Because there are three sets of Dhammas, Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākkhando, Saññākkhando, like that, because there are three sets of Dhammas, right? For the Tikkamulakam, we can say Chatukka because there are four sets of Dhammas, Rūpakhandocha, Vedanākkhando, Saññākkhando, Saṅkhārakkhando. So whatever it is shown in the Pali, it's only for the Rūpakkhando. But in the sub-commentary, it says, so what it is intended in the commentary is that in the Pali, it is not that the Rūpakkhanda Mulaka is there, but it is applicable for the other aggregates as well, which means for Saññākkhanda, Saṅkhārakkhanda, Viññānakkhandha, it is applicable, right? So in the sub-commentary, it is explained how many dukkha, tika, chatukka are applicable for the other aggregates as well, right? If you have the other aggregates as the basis, it explains how many of them are applicable, right? So we look at the explanation in the commentary, right? So what we see in the Pali was the basis. It was the Rūpakkhando, right? So now I'm going to do is to do for the Vedanākkhando, right? So Vedanākkhanda Mulaka. So for the Vedanākkhanda Mulaka, it says there are three dukkhas, right? There are three dukkhas. So it is Vedana, Saññā, and so this is number one, right? Vedana and Saññā. Number two is Vedana and Saṅkhāra. Number three is Vedana and Viññāna, right? So now what we see here is Vedana, Saññā, Vedana, Saññā, Vedana, Saṅkhāra, and Vedana, Viññāna. So now if you compare with the Rūpakkhanda Mulaka, there are four, right? Rupa, there are 4 Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saññākkhando, Rūpakkhando, Saṅkhārakkhando, Rūpakkhando, Viññānakkhandō. So like that there are 4, but here we see only the 3. The reason being is that the previous one, right? So ideally now we see the combinations for 3 other sets, but the relationship with Vedana and Rupa is not there. So the reason for that, not to include the Vedana and the Rūpakkhanda, is that it was already explained. It is explained in the Rūpakkhanda, right? Rūpakkhanda and Vedanākkhanda is already there. So in the Vedanākkhanda Mūlaka, the Rūpakkhanda and Vedanākkhanda relationship is not shown. So whatever it is shown here is are the relationships which were not included previously, right? So if you move to the next one, there it says there are 2 dukkha's, 2 thikas, right? 2 thika. So it is Vedana, Saññā, and Saṅkhāra. Vedana, Saññā, and Viññāna, right? So this is the 3rd one, and it says there is 1 Chatukka, that is Vedana, Saññā, Saṅkhāra, and Viññāna. So there are 3 dukkha, 2 thika, and 1 chatukka, like that. So this is for the Vedanākkhanda Mūlaka, and then we have this for the Saññākkhanda Mūlaka. So for Saññākkhanda Mūlaka, it says that there are 2 dukkhas, that is Saññā plus Saṅkhāra, and Saññā plus Viññāna, Saññā and Viññāna, right? So the previous combinations were not included, right? So because now we see Saññā and Vedana was included here previously, right? So that combination is not here, right? And yes, there are 2 dukkhas here, and there is 1 thika. There is 1 thika, that is Saññā, Saṅkhāra, and Viññāna, right? Vedanākkhanda, Saññākkhanda is shown wrong. Now the next one is Saṅkhārakkhanda. So in Saṅkhārakkhanda there is only 1 dukkha, that is the Saññākkhanda plus the Viññāna. And so these are the combinations which are not, now we don't see in the Pali, but it was originally in the Pali, right? In the original Desana. Right. So the question, it comes as Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Katihi Khandehi Katihāyatanehi Katihi Dhātuhi Saṅghahita. Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Dvihi Khandehi Dasahayatanehi, Dvihi Khandehi Eka Dasahayatanehi Eka Dasahi Dhātuhi Saṅghahita. katihi asangahita tehi khandehi ekena ayatanena sattahi dhatuhi asangahita. So we'll read the translation. Rūpakkhando cha Vedanākkhando cha, matter and aggregate feeling, right? So the question is about the both things, matter and aggregate feeling. Under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are matter and feeling aggregates classified, right? So the answer is given as matter and feeling aggregates. Answer is given as Rūpakkhando cha Vedanākkhando cha Dvihi khandehi ekadasahayatanēhi ekadasahi dhātuhi sangahita. So it is given as matter and feeling aggregates are classified under 2 aggregates, under 11 bases, and under 11 elements, right? There are it is given like that, right? So what are these numbers, right? Under 2 elements, I'm sorry, 2 right. So matter and feeling aggregates, they are grouped under 2 aggregates, which is the matter and feeling, right? It's very straightforward. Then it says 11 bases. So what are these 11 bases? 11 bases means the matter it's included in 11 bases, right? The 10 gross bases plus the ideation base, and also the feeling is also included in the ideation base, right? So it's included in the ideation base. So altogether we are looking at 11 bases, and ekadasahi dhatuhi sangahita. So ekadasahi means under 11 elements. So 10 gross elements and the ideation element, right? So what do you mean by 11 elements? The 10 gross elements where the matter is included, and also the matter is included in the ideation element. The feeling also included in the ideation element. So that's how it is classified, right? Oh, by the way, so yes, please translate. Yes.
好，接下来我们来看一下，双因素或者说2因素的分法。那么既然是2因素，也就是对于所探讨的范围，在此5蕴的范围之中，以2种的蕴的方式而提问并且回答。那在这里首先提及的2种蕴是哪2种呢？即是 Rūpakkhando 加 Vedanākkhando， 即是色蕴和受蕴。那么这里是如何问的呢？色蕴被摄于几种的蕴、几种的处、几种的界呢？回答说是色蕴摄于1种的蕴、11种的处，还有11种的界。对不起，色蕴与识蕴被摄于几种的蕴、几种的处、几种的界呢？色蕴与识蕴被摄于2种的蕴、11种的处和11种的界。那在此的2种蕴、11处、11界是哪些内容呢？2种蕴即是色蕴和受蕴，11种的处即是去除了1处之外剩下的11种处，它可以主体包含2种大的内容，即是10种的粗的处，还有呢法处。那么同样的道理，被摄于的11种界也是去除了7种10界之外剩下的11种界，也即是去除了眼识界、耳识界、鼻识界、舌识界、身识界、意界、意识界之后剩下的眼耳鼻舌身界、色声香味触界还有法界的11界的内容。
Yes, and then it says katihi asangahita. Rūpakkhando cha Vedanākkhando cha katihi asangahita. So it means in where this group are ungrouped, right? In where these under how many they are not classified, right? So they are not. The answer is given as Tihi khandehi ekena ayatanena sattahi dhātuhi asangahita. So ekena khandena means I'm sorry, Tihi khandehi they are not classified under 3 aggregates, ekena ayatanena under 1 base, and under sattahi dhātuhi under 7 elements. right? So where these are ungrouped, they are ungrouped under 3 aggregates, right? Perception, volitive formation, and consciousness, right? Because they've already included, they were grouped in matter and feeling. So the rest of the aggregates, they are not included, they are not classified. And again it says ekena ayatanena asangahita, under one base, which is the mind base, they are not included, right? We know in the other 11 bases, the matter and feeling were classified, they were grouped into. So here, so the mind base was not included there. So under mind base, it is not grouped. And then finally it says sattahi dhatuhi asangahita, and under 7 elements, it is not classified, right? So what are these 7 elements? Those are the 7 consciousness elements, right? So in the other 11 elements, the matter aggregate and the feeling aggregate were classified, right? So the other 7 consciousness elements, it is not grouped.
好，接下来色蕴与受蕴非摄于哪些的蕴处界呢？回答是，它们非摄于3种的蕴、1种的处和7种的界。3种的蕴即是5蕴当中去除了色蕴、受蕴之后剩下的受蕴、想蕴和识蕴。1种的处即是刚刚所提及的意处。7种的界呢，即是7种的识界。它的内容呢，包含有双五识的五识界，还有一界、意识界。
Right. Okay. So we are done with the Dummūlaka, Dukkhamūlaka, and then we have the other combination, which means we have 3: Rūpakkhando cha, Vedanākkhando cha, Saññākkhando cha. It's given in triads, right? Matter, feeling, and perception. So it goes like that. So what you have to do is to get the ultimate realities which are applicable for each of these states of inquiry, and then you have to look at their classification, where these dhammas are classified and where they are not classified, right? So then Tikkamūlakam is given here, Tikkamūlakam, right? And then we find the other one, Chatukkamūlakam. Yes, please translate.
好，那么接下来在经文之中，在列举了2因素的内容之后，进一步的展开是3因素的内容。比如说，经文当中有提及Rūpakkhando cha, Vedanākkhando cha, Saññākkhando。那色蕴、受蕴、想蕴，它们被摄于几蕴、几处、几界。像这样的方式，就5蕴当中的3种的因素、3种的法，而去询问他们被摄于哪些的蕴、处和界。那3因素之后呢，又提及有4因素，比如在5蕴当中有提及色蕴、受蕴、想蕴、行蕴，它们被包含于哪些的蕴、处、界。按照这样的方式呢，是以4因素的方式对在这里的内容进行问答。
Right. Then we move to the 5th one by Pañcaka-mūlakam, which means by it's given as pentads. Rūpakkhando cha, Vedanākkhando cha, Saññākkhando cha, Saṅkhārakkhando cha, Viññānakkhandō cha, Katihi kandehi, Katihi ayatanehi, Katihi dhātuhi saṅgahitā. So it given that there are 5, all 5 aggregates are included here, right? Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Saññākkhando, Saṅkhārakkhando, Viññānakkhandō, right? So all 5 are included here, right? So, and finally, in the final question, it says Panchakhanda Katihi kandehi, Katihi ayatanehi, Katihi dhātuhi saṅgahitā. So here the question is given as Panchakhanda. the five aggregates. The state of inquiry itself is the five aggregates. So instead of telling it as individually, it is given as in one word, one term, right? Panchakhanda. So what happened is that in our classification, this Panchakhanda, the term Panchakhanda, is known as Abheda. So Abheda in Pali, it means that there is no division, right? There is no division. So when you say Rūpakkhando, there is a division, right? When you say Sanyakhando, there is a division. Vijnanakhando, there is a division. And if you add two or more aggregates, right? Rūpakkhando cha, Vedanākkhando cha, Rūpakkhando cha, Vedanākkhando cha, Sanyakhando cha. So like that, if you add up, again we see a division, right? So, but in the Panchakhanda here, there is no division. So that is why it is given as Abheda. So because the other in the other states of inquiry which we came across until this point, they included they had a division, right? So because of that, they are called the Bheda, because they had a division, right? A classification, right? Not a classification, it's a division, right? Yeah. So here there is no division. So this part is the Abheda Pali, Panchakhanda. So it is the final one, the final state of inquiry, which comes under the aggregates.
好，我们看到在四因素的内容之后，进一步的经文当中又提及了就5种的因素，即是5蕴，全部的5种蕴对于他们的问答，他们被设于何种的蕴处界。那么在这里呢，它包含了全部的5蕴的因素。然而在这里呢，即便它包含了全部的因素，我们说它是全因素啊。那么到最后的一段的内容之时呢，则是将这5蕴划归为一个整体，以Dhatukatha 5蕴的方式整体的而去进行发问。在这里回归到我们之前的对于Khanda的2种类型的分析之时，何谓北大，何谓阿北大呢？在经文当中，我们就可以由此而得知，北大就是将这里的法以细分的方式将它们提出，比如只是提及色蕴而去问答，只是提及色蕴、受蕴而去进行问答，只是就色、受、想3因素等而去问答，这些它都是有分的。然而到了经文的最后一段的内容，就Dhatukatha而整体的去发问的时候呢，它是属于不分的，它是将5蕴视为一个整体而去进行回答。所以呢，我们可以得知到这里它是属于最后一段是属于阿贝达，之前的话呢是属于贝达。
Okay. So
Pandit, I have a question here.
yes, of course.
So for the last paragraph, Dhatukatha as a whole group. So what's the difference between the Dhatukatha and list all the Rūpakkhando, Vedanākkhando, Sanyakhando, 5 khandas? What's the difference between these 2 paragraphs?
Okay, this is included in the Bheda also. It is divided. This is in Bheda, and this
okay,
is
so
Abheda.
This one also Bheda.
No,
okay.
This is Abheda. Only this question belongs to Abheda category. The rest of the questions, they belong to Bheda.
Okay, Ben. Sadhu.
Okay, so moving further, right? So there are a few other other areas, right? We have the same thing for the ayatanang. Ayatanang means for the bases, right? It starts with chakkayatanang, like that, right? And then we have the dhatu, the elements. We have the sacha. So you have to do the same thing in these sections, right? So in ayatana, we'll look at one example. So it's in the first one, it's given as chakkayatanang, katihi kandehi, katihi ayatanehi, katihi dhatuhi sangahitam. So chakkayatana means the ear base, right? Right. I'm sorry. Chakkayatana means the eye base, right? I mistake. Right. Chakkayatanang means the eye base. So where it is in how many aggregates and under how many bases and how many elements are this eye base classified. So the question goes, and it's explained as in the number, and then we find the in this one, the next question, it is included, right? I mean all the other similar questions with similar answers are included here. Sotayatanang, Ghanayatanang, Jivhayatanang, Kayayatanang, Rūpayatanang, Saddhayatanang, Gandhayatanang, Rasayatanang, Pottabhayatanang, right? We have to find the Peyalang. Peyalang means it is like it's summarized. It's not summarized. It's like it's in shortened form, right? So here we see ear base, nose base, tongue base, body base, visible object base, sound base, odor base, taste base, tangile base. So these are similar, so they are included in one question, right? Yes.
那么对于第一组的韵的内容分析之后，接下来来到了有关于处的内容的分析。对于12种的处，在这里呢也是同样的方式，首先以北大分的方式，而就单因素来去对它们进行询问。首先提及的是扎库亚达纳，以眼处而去进行发问。眼处它收摄于哪些的韵处界呢？它收摄于一种的韵、一种的处、一种的界。那么它非摄于哪些的韵处界呢？也是同样的方式，它不收摄于4种的韵、11种的处、11种的界。在第一段列举了眼处的问答之后，那么在第二段当中，接下来紧接着提出了9种的处。哪9种的处呢？Soda yadana, Gana yadana, Jiva yadana, Gaya yadana, Rupa yadana, Sada yadana, Ganda yadana, Rasa yadana, Buddha yadana, 悲的意思呢是中间省略。对于这提及的9种处，他们的问答的内容是与演出的内容完全一样的，所以在这里呢进行了省略。
And okay, so 2 participants have given a good English term for the Peyalang, Seale Punyachari and Mr. Cheng, I believe. So they have given Pe means the repetition, and the other one is given as an indication to show that a passage has been omitted, right? So both the Pe, we can say, if we translate this word as repetition, right? You have to repeat whatever it is given in the previous paragraph, and also the passage. So it indicates that the passage has been omitted, which was in before, right? So ideally in the Pali, this was in full, right? When Lord Buddha preached this Dhamma, it was in full, but for the oral tradition to memorize this Dhamma, so these sections, these the repetitive areas, these long passages are omitted.
这在这里又解释了一下悲 PE 它的含义是什么呢？就是将中间的内容进行了省略。当佛陀叙述这些经文的时候，是以全部的内容而去进行传教，但是呢，在进行口头的传承的时候呢， 有些时候因为重复的内容，所以会将以前的内容进行简略，如果它的内容是一致的。
Right. So like that, we have the in ayatana also, in the bases also, it is given by ones, right? And further moving down, it follows the same pattern, right? It has by twos, and further going down, finally in the 30 paragraph number 30, it is given as by 12s, right? But which means that ideally in the Dhamma, it was originally preached as by ones, twos, three, triads, so like that you go it until the 11th, right? Until the 12th one. But whatever we see in the Pali is only the by 12s, right? The Dwadasakam.
Sorry, Bande. So for the previous paragraph, do we need to see the difference between the first 10 yadana and the Mano Yanada and the Dhamma Yadana?
Oh, they'll need to learn that. Difference, is it? Can you repeat the question, please? Also.
No problem, Bande. No problem.
Yeah. So this like.
Bande.
Yes, Sally.
Hello, Bande.
Yes, I can hear you.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. In the Ayatana parts, we have only Eka Mulaka and Dukkha Mulaka and Dwadasaka. So
yes.
do we need to do like the Digha Mulaka, Jatuka Mulaka, Panchaka Mulaka, like the Khanda part?
Yes, ideally it is there in the Pali. It was originally there in the Pali when it was preached by the Lord Buddha, but now in the Pali it's been summarized. It's shortened, right? So what we see is like only the Ekamulaka, and we see the Dukkhamulaka, and we only see the Dwadasaka Mulaka, but there are Tika Mulaka, Chatuka Mulaka, Pancha, until the 12 we have, until the Ekadasaka, and finally the Dwadasaka. We have it in that order. I saw it in the commentary. Do you get the answer?
Okay,
Yeah?
thank you.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it says like it says only the dukkha is explained in the Pali, right? Yeah, but we have all for the all 12. Yes. Do you need to translate also to interpret?
Oh yeah. OK。对于12处的最后一段的内容，同样的是以部分的方式整体的而去进行问答，即是以12处整体而发问，他们被收摄于何种的蕴处界，以及他们非摄于何种的蕴处界。
Okay, so we find the same pattern for dhatu, which means the elements, and then we have for the satcha, means the four noble truths, and for the indriya we find the same pattern, right? Same way it is explained, right? So what you have to do is to find these the ultimate realities which are associated for each of these states of inquiry, and go through the book, and maybe Bhante will teach a little bit, and then find the classification and the unclassification of these under these questions.
那么接下来的话，如果大家已经掌握了以蕴处为例的在这里所展开的问答的方式，那么像类似的，对于接下来的像地和根等等的内容呢，界、地、根等等的内容呢，大家也就能够学会该如何以分或部分的方式去探讨这些的法，它们被收摄或不被收摄于哪些的蕴处界的内容。
And one special thing that which I need to mention here in the truths in Satcha. So in the Satcha also they have in Satcha they have in the Pali we have the Ekamulaka Pali, right? Ekamulaka Pali for Dukkha, Samudaya, Magga, Nirodha, right? So what we see here in the Pali, the first question it says in the first state of inquiry, Dukkha Satsang, right? So the question it goes like that. And the second one, Dukkha Satsang, means the suffering truth, right? The suffering truth, under how many aggregates and how many bases and under how many elements the suffering truth is classified. Then now when we look at the second question it explains it goes as Samudaya Satchang, Magga Satchang, right? So here also we find a Peyala, right? Samudaya Satchang, Magga Satchang, Ekena Khandena, Ekena Ayatanena, Ekaya Dhātuya Sanghitang. So here now when we consider the order in the discourse, the first Satcha, first truth which is explained is the Dukkha Satcha, then Samudaya Satcha, and the third one is the Nirodha Satcha, and the fourth one is the Magga Satcha, right? We get this point, right? The first one is the suffering truth, the second one is the origin truth, and the third one is the cessation truth, and the fourth one is the path, right? Path truth. So this is the order. These four dhammas, the four truths, four ultimate truths are preached by Lord Buddha. So but in the Pali, we see instead of going through that order, we see Samudaya Satcha and Magga Satcha are included together here, right? Because the reason being is that the answers, now this is not a Dukkha Mulaka, right? This is not a praising given by twos. This is a praising given by one, right? So the reason is that Samudaya Satcha and Magga Satcha both have the same kind of an answer, right? Ekena Khandena, Ekena Ayatanena, Ekaya Dhātuya Sanghitang, right? Then Kati Asanghitang, Chatuhi Khandehi, Eka Dasa Ayatanehi, Sattarasahi Dhātuhi Asanghitang, right? So because the answers are the same, these two are included in one place. So instead of going through that order in the correct sequence, this the states of inquiries which have similar answers are grouped together and given in the Pali. So we see this pattern, right? We see this pattern in other sections as well. In Dhatukatha we see this, right? Through the entire book we see this pattern, right? So when you move into the next sections, especially like for the Tikamatika, for the Tikamatika, you will see this Tikamatika, Dukkamatika, you will see this pattern very much, right? In very frequently.
有关于地的内容里面，我们贯之的由佛陀所教导的四谛的内容，它所展开的顺序是以苦集灭道这样的顺序而展开，这也是佛陀通常在讲述四谛之时所采取的方式。然而在戒论的经文之中，在这里我们看到第40段首先提及的是苦谛的内容。当然在这里呢，首先是以单元素的方式而去对谛的内容进行问答。首先提及的第40的内容呢，是对苦谛进行问答。在第41段下面一段呢，我们看到第二个提及的是Samudaya Satcha极谛以及Magga Satcha道谛。在这里道谛与极谛的内容呢放在一起去进行讲述，然后才去说Nirodha Satcha灭谛的内容。为什么在这里将极谛Samudaya Satcha和道谛Magga Satcha放在一起而说呢？是因为在这里的极谛和道谛的问答的内容的答案呢是完全一致的。极谛与道谛，他们收摄于何种的蕴处界呢？他们被收摄于一种的蕴、一种的处、一种的界。他们非摄于 4种的蕴、11种的处和11种的戒。那么在这里所展开的这样的一种表达呢，我们会在之后的3分法、2分法的内容里面会经常的看到有关于四谛在戒论之中它所展开的顺序是有所不同的。
Okay, so now this is one thing, special thing regarding here. And further going down, we see that Satya Indriya, and the next topic is the Paticcasamuppada, the dependent origination, right? So in dependent origination, there are a few special things, special points that I need to explain you all. Number one is here we see the Avijja Paccaya Sankhara. This is not special things regarding the Pali, but it's regarding the ultimate realities which is supposed to consider, right? Number 3, right? Number 3, we find conditioned by volitive formation is consciousness. Sankhara Paccaya Vijnana, right? Sankhara Paccaya Vijnana, conditioned by volitive formation is consciousness. So usually, if you are, normally if you are learning the Paticcasamuppada, here what we consider is only the resultant consciousness, the Vipaka consciousness. But here, in the Dhatukatha, in this Dhatukatha, we are supposed to consider these 89 chittas here, right? So the is one special thing that you need to know, right? This is based on the sub-commentary, right? In the sub-commentary, it explained. So the reason to consider 89 chitta is because of the next in the next Dhamma, right? In the commentary, it explains to consider the mind and matter which are applicable. Now here it's Vijnana Paccaya Nama Rupa, right? Conditioned by consciousness is by consciousness is mentality, and corporeality, right? So here we have to consider all the 52 mental factors and 28 matters which arises in the point of conception and during the lifetime as well. So because of this fact, we have to take the 89 chittas for the previous relationship, right? States of consciousness are classified under 89 chittas, so you have to consider it here. So this is one special thing that you will have to learn. So I believe that you all have learned the Paticcasamuppada at one point. So most probably when you are learning the Abhidhamma Sangaha with the ultimate reality, so this is one place which is different from the normal way of considering.
好，那么接下来对于22根的内容并没有特别，所以尊者略过了22根的内容。在22根之后，有关于 Paticcasamuppada 缘起的内容当中，有一些需要大家特别注意的内容。如果大家都学习过 Paticcasamuppada， 那么我们应当了知 Sankhara Paccaya Vijnana。那在这里的行是在过去上所造作的善或不善的思，因为这过去的善或不善的思，它能够原生的原所生法是今生的果报类型的识，所以在之前我们所学习的缘起的内容里面，行缘识的识主要提及的是以果报类型的名法而去涉及到识。然而在戒论之中，我们看到识的内容并非仅仅涉及到果报类型的识，它涉及到的所有的89种的识。这内容呢，在附注当中有提及，具体的内容呢，尊者并没有详加的解释。那么除此以外，识缘名色的内容之中，名色的内容应当了知，名的内容呢， 是属于52种的相应心所，而色的内容呢是整体的28种色法。
Okay, so the other special thing that y'all need to learn here is Jati, Jara, and Marana. Right. Okay, Jati, Jara, Marana. So Jati becoming conditions birth, right? So the birth we have to consider, right? Jati. So what is applicable here for the Jati? It is two-folded, right? The birth materiality is ascribed to the occurrence of 18 concretely produced matters. Right? So these 18 concretely produced matters, the jati is ascribed, right? So we consider the point of occurrence only. So we know in the materiality there are three stages, right? Uppada, Titi, Bhanga, right? Occurrence, then the Titi, and then the Bhanga, right? The cessation point. So only the point of occurrence is considered here for the 18 concretely produced material, right? And then also the birth of mentality is ascribed to the occurrence of four mental aggregates, right? Four mental aggregates are considered, but only the point of occurrence, the uppada, is considered here, right? So this is the another important thing. And when they are grouped, right? Now we'll see the Pali. Right? So in Pali it says Jati Dvihi Kandehi Ekena Ayatanena Ekaya Dhatuya Sangahitang. So it explained like that. So it means that the Jati, the birth, are grouped in Dvihi Kandehi, which means in the under two groups, under two aggregates, they are classified, right? So what are these? What are the two aggregates? It is the aggregate of we know the materiality is there, the matter aggregate is there, and also now here we see the four mental aggregates for the mentality, but these four mental aggregates are considered here as we don't take all four mental aggregates separately. Only the Sankharakhanda, the aggregate of volitive formations, are included here, right? And when it comes to the bases and the elements, they are included in the ideation base and ideation element.
这有需要注意的，尊者接下来提及的是有关于生缘老死之中的生。什么是这里的生呢？首先在经文当中提及的 jadi divihi kandehi， 那在这里的 divihi kandehi 两种的韵是哪两种的韵而去解释生呢？这里的两种韵，它们并不是就五韵而提及的两种韵。它们指的是Rūpakkhando和Nāmakkhando，即是名韵和色韵。什么是这里的名韵和色韵呢？首先，在这里的色韵指的是18种的完成色。这18种的完成色在此又特指是该究竟法的生时刹那。我们知道，诸究竟法以相续而言，它们会分为生、住、灭的刹那。色法有生住灭的刹那，名法呢有生住灭的刹那。那么对于在此的18种完成色的生呢，特指的是其生时刹那。 那么接下来什么是这里的名运呢？名运展开来即是4种名运：受、想、行、识4名运。同样的道理，在此的生指的是这4种名运的生始刹那。
Right. So I hope that you understood that the 4 mental aggregates, they are the four mental aggregates are the occurrence of the 4 mental aggregates are considered as the ultimate realities, which is ultimate reality, which is associated with the jati, but it is classified into two sections, right? Only in 2 aggregates. And further we find the jara and marana. So jara is aging and marana is the death. So here also the 18 concretely produced matters plus the 4 mental aggregates are considered, and the way they are classified are the same as with the jati. So the reason for the 4 mental aggregates to be classified under the Sankharakhanda, right, under the aggregate of volitive formations, is that this jati, jara, marana are not considered as the true paramattha dhammas. They are merely states of paramattha dhammas. They are merely states of ultimate realities. The occurrence and aging and death of the are considered are states of paramattha dhammas, but they are not considered as true or real paramattha dhammas. But in the commentaries and in the sub-commentaries, it is explained that, in the sub-commentary and the sub-sub-commentary, the Mula Tika and in the Anutika, it is explained that they can be considered, even though they are not true paramattha dhammas, true ultimate realities, they can be considered as Sankharakhanda, the aggregate of volitive formations, right? So the reason is that we know for all the dhammas which arise because of a cause, they have these 3 characteristics, right? They possess these 3 characteristics. What are these? The birth or the occurrence, the aging, and also the death, the cessation, right? So because of that, these are considered in the aggregate of volitive formations.
好，在这里的话呢，要为大家纠正一下。那在这里呢，刚刚所说的2种运，名运和识运呢，是错误的，应当是应当是色运和行运这2种运，是在这里所提及的有关于生的2种运。进而尊者为大家诠释，在阿毗达摩范围之内所讨论的诸究竟法，他们所具有的特相是，这些究竟法他们都会拥有生住灭的刹那。然而在这里的生所提及的究竟法的内容，如果只是以生时的刹那而说，他们还是究竟法吗？那尊者提及在附注之中以及随附注之中有这样子做解释。如果说只是以生时刹那而去说这些的究竟法呢，他们是可以被包含在行运之中而去探讨。因此在这里生有关于名运的内容的部分呢，它可以归属在行运的内容里面。
Right. So after that we move into the So then we move into the other dhammas which are explained in the external, the internal methods, internal topics. The Chattaro Satipatthana, the application of 4 mindfulness, Chattaro Samappadhana, Chattaro Iddhipada, Chattari Jhanani, Chattasso Appamanyayo. So it goes on like this, right? So there are few things to explain here. Number 1 is regarding the Satipatthana, right? Chattaro Satipatthana, the 4 foundation or the application of mindfulness. So So here the constituent states, the ultimate realities which are associated here, are the mindfulness cetasika, the sati cetasika, accompanying the supramundane consciousness, the Lokuttara 8 supramundane consciousness, right? So for the 4 application of mindfulness, only the 8 supramundane consciousness, the chittas, are considered here. The mindfulness cetasika in the 8 supramundane consciousness. So I exactly don't know why the reason which is only this 8 is considered here. I mean in the Vibhanga Pakarana, which is the book previous to the Dhatukatha, this 8 supramundane consciousness are considered, right, in the Abhidhamma section, Abhidhamma Bhajaniya section. So I think that is the reason the 8 supramundane consciousness are considered here. But we know when it comes to Satipatthana, in the Satipatthana Sutta, it describes about the states, the kusala chittas, or improving the mindfulness prior to the supramundane chittas, right? But here in the Abhidhamma, based on the Vibhanga Pakarana, the explanation in the Vibhanga Pakarana, so the 8 supramundane consciousness are only considered here, and the mindfulness cetasika in the 8 supramundane consciousness is considered here, right? So that's one thing you need to know. So because straight away if you learn the Satipatthana Sutta or in some classification in the Abhidhamma Sangha, it's different from what we see here.
接下来是有关于四念处的内容。那么在这里的四念处，它的内容包含有身受心法4种的念处，有别于我们之前在经教法里面，比如念处经里面所了解到的念处的介绍，以及在阿毗达摩议论之中所介绍的有关于念处的内容，在这里的四念处的内容，在戒论之中的四念处的内容都只涉及一种类型的明法，即是念心所，并且是在这里的念心所，它只是强调出现在出世间心当中的念心所。8种的出世间心，即是4种的出世间道心和4种出世间果心里面的念心所。那尊者有提及，在分别论的译注之中有做出这样的解释，所以在这里呢是以这样的方式而说四念处它的它的根源法呢，即是出世间心当中的8种念心所。
Yes, and so for the other sections also, so the basis to consider the Paramata Dhammas, to get the constituent states, the ultimate realities, is the basis for these are the explanation which comes in the Vibhanga, right? In the Vibhanga or the Dhammasangani, it's the basis for this, right? So we find the like say for example Chattaro Samapadana, like that. So the basis is the Vibhanga. So but I also have a couple of questions regarding two sections here, right? So we see for the Chattaro Samapadana, it says the it associate with the effort Chetasika follows the 8 supramundane consciousness. So here also the 8 supramundane consciousness are considered. And the next one, the Chattaro Iddipada, also the 5 supramundane chittas, I'm sorry, the 8 supramundane consciousness into 5, which means the 40 supramundane consciousness are considered here. So this is how it is explained in the books, in the Burmese text and in the Burmese Nisaya book. But in the Vibhanga Pakarana, only the path consciousness, the 8 supramundane, the effort Chetasika, which is associated with the 4 path consciousness, are considered here. And for the Chattaro Iddhipada, the 4 bases of psychic accomplishment, also the four path consciousness are considered here, right? So I still don't know why the books in the Burmese text, these 8 supramundane consciousness and all this the 40 supramundane consciousness are considered, and the in the other sections, in the 5 jhanas and the chattare jhanani, chatasu apamanyayo, and in all these sections, the constituent ultimate realities are same with what we find in the Vibhanga Prakarana, right? So here we have this difference, of course, but still it doesn't affect the final answer. The answer is going to be the same, but the constituent states are not the same with what we find in the Vibhanga. So I checked the commentary and the sub-commentary, so it doesn't state anything regarding to consider the supramundane consciousness, the all 8 supramundane consciousness in these two categories.
好，那么在这里的话呢，尊者进一步的有关于四念处的内容呢，为大家做了一些详解。首先，我们应当了知，在这里的四念处 Jadaru Samabhadana 它的内容在戒论之中，在此呢是依于缅甸的传统的尼萨亚的方式所给予的解释，它的内容提及的是出现在8种出世间心之中的精进心所，也就是4种道心以及4种果心之中的相应心所、精进心所。那尊者在这里有这样的一个问题或者说看法。尊者说，在这里面，比如像禅那、像五根、五力、七觉支等等的内容，都是合乎于分别论之中的解释。那么，对于在这里四正勤的内容，在分别论之中所给予的解释，仅仅是出现在4种出世间道心之中的相应精进心所。那么，所以呢，尊者即便查阅了附注和随附注的内容呢，也没有找到准确的对于这里的精进心所为什么是8种出世间心当中的精进心所的答案。然而，即便如此，它也不会影响到在结论之中的问题的答案。它们都只是被包含在一种蕴、一种处和一种界之中。
Okay, so next we'll move into the tikang, the triplets, right? So I will go through one question. Kusala Dhamma. Now we see the akusala also here, right? Akusala Dhamma, because these two, the answers are the same. The final classification and unclassification, they are the same. So they are included in one question. So, okay, I'll explain this one, only the first one. Kusala Dhamma. Kusala Dhamma katihi khandehi kati hayatanehi katihi dhatuhi sangahita. Kusala Dhamma chatuhi khandehi dvihayatanehi dvihi dhatuhi sangahita. Kati asangahita ekena khandena dasayatanehi solasahi dhatuhi asangahita. So it explains like this, right? So this is the first one, the first question in the tika, in the triplets. So I will go through it. Kusala Dhamma means the wholesome states. Katihi kandehi katihi ayatanehi katihi dhatuhi sangahita. Under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are wholesome states classified, right? So you have to omit this one, right? Because we are only looking at the wholesome states, the Kusala Dhamma. So then the answer it states the wholesome states are classified under 4 aggregates, under 4 bases, and under 2 elements. So we look at the Pali for the constituent factors, dhammas.
接下来呢，来到了底嘎三分法的内容，那就是在法纪论之中所提及的22组的三分法。第一组的三分法呢，是有关于善不善、无记法所提出的问题。在第一段第77段当中，将善法和不善法两者放在了一起。为什么呢？因为对于不善法和善法两者而言，它们被收摄在蕴处界的数量是一致的。它们被摄于几种蕴、几种处、几种界呢？它们被摄于4种的蕴、2种的处和2种的界。
Okay, so what are the kusala dhammas? So wholesome states, the compositional states. It means it explain active 21 mundane wholesome chittas, 38 chetasikas, which means 13 common non-beautiful factors and 25 beautiful factors. So essentially it means the 21 wholesome chittas and the 38 mental factors which are associated there. So all these are what? They are mental aggregates, right? The mental dhammas, right? We have 21 chittas, and the rest of them are chetasikas, the mental factors. So those 4 mental aggregates, I mean these dhammas, are classified in 4 mental aggregates, right? And then again, these
好，那么在这里三分法的第一种善法的内容是什么呢？善法在这里的内容包含有21种的善心和38种相应心所。那38种相应心所呢，包含有7变界心所、6杂心所以及25种的美心所。那么善法的内容是这些的心法和心所法。换言之，善法的内容呢，仅仅是名法。那因此呢，它们能够出现在的蕴呢，是4种的名蕴，处呢，即是意处和法处。
Right. So there, then it says dvihi ayatanehi, dvihayatanehi sangahita. Dvihayatane means it's classified under 2 bases, right? 2 bases means the ideation base and the mind base. The wholesome consciousness, 21 consciousness, they are included in the mind bases. They are classified under mind base, and then the mental factors, the 38 mental factors which are associated with those with those consciousness, they are included in the ideation base. So we are looking at 2 bases here, and then it says dvihi dhatuhi sangahita, and under 2 elements they are classified. So what are those 2 elements? Ideation element and mind consciousness element. So ideation elements, it's very straightforward because the mental factors, they are classified under these under the ideation element. But the mind consciousness element, we have to consider it here, because now we know in the classification of the elements there are 7 consciousness associated, but the wholesome states, they only are included in the mind consciousness element. They are not included in the 5 consciousness which are related to the bases, and also the mind consciousness, right? So only the mind consciousness, only the mind consciousness is considered here, right?
在这里的话呢，我们来分析一下，善法包含有21种的善心和38种的相应心所，它们被收拾在2种的处和2种的界。2种的处呢，即是法处和意处。21种的善心被收拾在意处，38种的相应心所被收拾在法处，一切的52种心所都被收拾在法处之中。在这里的界是2种界，哪2种界呢？即是法界和意识界。应当了知，在18界之中，有关于民法的界有3种，即是法界、意界和意识界。在这里为什么没有意界呢？ 译介的内容我们了知，它是7个组成的内容，包含有双五时，还有我们转向和领受。那么这5种类型的民法，它们都非善法，所以在这里呢不会出现。因此，在18种戒里面只出现有关于2种和民法有关的戒，即是包含一切心所的法界，还有包含其他的除了意界之外剩余时运的意识界。那也就意味着相应心所被包含在法界之中，善心被包含在意识界之中。
Right. Then we have the other question. Katihi asangahita ekena khandena dasahayatanehi solasahi dhatuhi asangahita. So this is the question regarding the unclassification, right? So it says ekena khandena means under one aggregate it is ungrouped, unclassified, which is the matter aggregate, and dasahayatane means under 10 bases. So 10 bases means the 10 gross bases. So in the 10 gross bases, the wholesome dhammas, the states which are wholesome, are not classified. And under 16 elements, the wholesome states, the states which are wholesome, are not classified, right? So what are these 16? 10 gross elements and remaining 6 consciousness elements, right? 10 gross elements means the elements which includes the rupa only, the matter only, and the remaining consciousness element. Now we know the wholesome states which are wholesome were classified in mind consciousness element, and then the other 6, the remaining 6 consciousness elements, they are not included, they are not classified there, right? So that's why we find the answer as and under 16 elements, these states which are wholesome are not classified.
接下来，善法不被收摄在哪些的运处界之中呢？善法既然是民法，自然它不会被收摄在色运之中。善法不会被收摄在10种的处以及16种的界之中。哪10种的处呢？即是10种粗的处，以及是眼耳鼻舌身的处，以及色声香味触的处。那么16种的界是哪16种的界呢？那么是10种的粗的界，以及在10界里面去除了意界之外，剩下的6种10界，即是50界，还有意界。
Right. Okay. So now I will stop here regarding the explanation for the first method. So what y'all have to do is, like, you have some work to do, right? So which means that you'll have, if you are not familiar and you are not very good in the Matika, especially with this Matika, the Tika Matika and Dukkha Matika, so please go through them. For the English speaking Dhamma friends, we have shared couple of documents, right? One is this book by Mr. P.B. Tan. So there is some explanation regarding the Paramattha Dhammas in this book, and also we shared one note which was shared by Syale Aganyani. Yes, and then we have these documents for the English users. So in the coming few weeks, we will do the next class maybe after another 4 or 5 weeks. Because you all have to go through all these first method, all the states of inquiries in the first method slowly, and understand them properly, right, before moving into the second method. So we'll have a break for 4 to 5 weeks, which means it's a break only for the teacher, not for the students. So you'll have to study this like that. So I think Bhante Kassapa is helping you all anyway every weekend, maybe 1 or 2 days per week. He will be helping you all to do the to learn the Matika. So so now so my request for you all is to do this work, and also with the ways of connecting, like you can keep asking me questions in the Viber group, and then maybe any questions you all can asked from me, right? For the Chinese users also, they can ask questions, right? Chinese friends, they can ask the questions via maybe the CLS will help to send the questions. So like that, we'll go like this, maybe for 1 month, maybe 5 weeks, and see our progress before moving to the next chapter, right? So before having, without consolidating on this chapter, without having this having a good understanding of this first method, it will be less beneficial if we move to the second chapter, right? Yes.
好，那么在这里，今天我们的内容呢到这里结束。那老师也给大家留了一些任务，也是对于上述的相关的内容，如果说省略的，大家可以自己在课后做一下，并且呢，大家应当对于接下来要展开的第一尬和读尬的内容，涉及到法集论的3分法、2分法的内容，在课后进行学习。英文的内容呢，这边的 CLA 也会给英文的读者的受众呢分享。中文的内容的话呢，在这里也将会我将会尽快的为大家做一些相关的介绍。那老师准备在接下来的1个月估计是5周的时间之内，将有关于第一法的内容呢为大家做一个介绍。OK， Bande， sadhu sadhu。
So if you all have questions, you can ask me now.
如果大家有问题呢，一方面可以在课后在 Viber 里面呢，提出问题，会由 CLA 帮助大家提交给尊者。那如果在这里大家还有问题，现场可以提出。
Bande?
Yes.
Could you please go back to the chart in the Iddhipada parts, the Jataro Iddhipada? So there mentions associated with the classification of the Virya, Chanda, and Moha present at the 8 multiplied 5 superabundant jadas, right? Number 3, I think. The Iddhipada.
Yes.
So here the 8. So the 8 is the 8 Lokuttara, right?
Yes.
But after that, it mentions multiply 5 superabundants, 5 Lokuttara. What is that?
Oh, this is the basis for the not the basis. Now in Abhidhamma Sangha we learn, right, 8 Lokuttara Chittas, and based on the jhana factors, right, based on the jhananga,
I see.
multiplied by 5. So this is the what do you call this, extended, the detailed version.
Okay, it's 5 jhana. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Plus just becomes 40, right?
Sorry.
So because multiply by 5, so it becomes 40.
Yes.
That means the detailed method.
Yes, the detailed one.
Bante, what I would like to ask is about the, I saw the form, the chapter 7 Abhidhamma Canon. Then it's always said that, okay, from the 52 Citta, and then this is about 4 ultimate reality, and then 5 Khanda method, so including the Vedana and perception, and then the Sankhara, right? And then another is about 12 Ayadana and 18 Dhatu. So in here, the 12 Ayadana is equal, for 52 Citta is equal to Dhamma Ayadana, and including the Kusuma, this Rupa, and plus the Citta and plus Nibbana. So in here, what is mean in here? I think the Nibbana, why including in here?
Where?
I don't know, because I did not see your it's different form. I yes.
Sorry, in which one? We don't see the Nibbana?
In you know, but not in your book. Is I'm looking at the Abhidhamma Canon in chapter 7, and there is a form. The form is about the 4 ultimate reality and 5 khanda, 12 ayadana, and 18 dhatu, and they make all the comparison.
Okay. So the question is?
The question is the comparison is about the Dhamma Yadana and Dhamma element. Then there is including Sukuma, Rupa, and Citasika, and Nibbana.
Okay.
You know, the form I think is Bodhi Bhikkhu Bhante is making this form. What we are reading every day is already translated into Chinese as well.
Oh.
So they are.
Nibbana is included there, right? Nibbana is included.
Yeah. Yes, included with 52 Citasika and also Sukuma Rupa.
Yes, yes, of course.
That's why I don't understand. And here you don't including that nothing is you have for Sukuma Rupa, but there's no Nibbana here. I don't understand how they classify.
I don't get the question.
Did you see the form? Have you ever seen the form in Abhidhamma Canon in the chapter 7? It's about the miscellaneous, I think. There is a form. Yeah. Yes. 它有英文的吗？ 有没有英文的这个？
Maybe I can help you answer the question.
Yes, sure.
下列应当注意的是，戒论呢，它是就论母的内容，然后去探讨，主要是以内法论母和外法论母的内容去探讨它们归摄于哪些的运处界。所以呢，你去找在这些内法和外法论母里面是否有出现涅槃。那我们现在到目前为止，在所有的内法论母的内容里面，并没有提及涅槃，所以没有去说涅槃属于哪些的运处界。如果说内法论母包含了涅槃，自然的会有这样的提问。但是呢，在内法论母的16种类型里面没有提及涅槃，所以呢，没有这样的问题。
没有提及，对，因为我是看了这个第7章阿毗昙摩沙嘎哈，就是类别字概要，你应该知道，就那个表格啊，4个究竟法5蕴12处18界，对吧？它里面的那个法处里面，就是这个是比较难理解的，其他的你说在12处里面，对吧？我们就很明显的五个要必色圣，然后是外境内境就10个了，对吧？然后其他就是益处，就是89心。然后在法处这方面，可能这些比较难理解的，有未细色，还有加心所，还加涅槃，它是这样子分的。法处法界也是，对吧？
对，
就是OK 了，没事了。谢谢曼迪。
So any more questions? Okay, we'll end the class, right? No questions.
Many questions. We need to digest that. Not easy.
Yes, that's why we need time, take time and slowly understand.
Yes. Right? Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate very much for you sharing this very difficult Dhatukatha. We think the Dhatukatha is the most difficult one, right? even small, but it's difficult to understand.
Yes, yes. Okay, it's just the beginning, right?
Yes,
This is the easiest one.
we appreciate.
The
We
number one
appreciate.
method.
Yes. Huh?
Number one method. The first method is the easiest one. We are doing the easiest one now, right? So if you digest this one properly, you can move to the second, third one, like that. Right? Okay. So the good thing about
Yes.
Dhamma, it's in the Paharada Sutta, it says like the ocean, it doesn't get deeper straight away, right? Slowly, like little by little, it becomes deeper. So like that, the Dhamma is like this. So it doesn't get deeper, straight away. Little by little, it becomes deeper, right? So if you understand the first steps, we do the first steps correctly, then we can do the second one, third one, like that, right? It's an incremental process.
Yes.
Right? Anupubba Kiriya, Anupubba Sikha. Those are the two Pali words we say. Okay, so we'll transfer
Thank
the merits.
you. Yes.
Transfer the merits and
Thank,
in the class.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so from the kusala which we accumulated during the last 2 hours by learning the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, teaching the Buddha's Dhamma, and reflecting the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, from this kusala karma, from these merits, may all the being in this world and the other worlds be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May our kusala karma be a supportive factor for them to attain Nibbana, and may this kusala karma be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. So with this wish, we'll recite these final stanzas from the Abhidhamma commentary and transfer the merits.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yang pattam kusalam tasse anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa natva dhammang sukhavaham papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukha muttamang chirang tittatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi satta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatarakkinsu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi Addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranamha parimuccissami idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.